Okay, today I'm going to talk about CrossFit. CrossFit is a very controversial topic in the world of fitness and sport. CrossFit is defined as constantly varied functional movements and high intensity across broad time and model domains. It's a strength conditioning program. My argument today is going to be that I believe that CrossFit's way better for you than going to a standard global gym. One of the number one reasons why I think any CrossFitter or anyone that does CrossFit would tell you why they love CrossFit is the community. You sweat together, you work really hard together, you overcome hard things, you reach goals, and you accomplish a lot. You sweat so much that I think it just makes you gain respect for people. You become better friends with those around you. A lot of the friendships that we have here at CrossFit Unknown are because of the gym here itself, and because of the things that we've overcome and the hard times and the fun times that we go through together. Another reason why I think CrossFit is really good for people is because of the time. A lot of times it's really hard to find time to work out. It's not a main priority, but everybody wants to be healthy. And so I think CrossFit's a great way to get that in. You only come to CrossFit for 1 hour. I believe that you hit a higher intensity and you get a lot more work done than you do going to a global standard gym. A lot of times if I go to a global standard gym, I see people hit a couple of max lifts and they walk around aimlessly like they don't know what's going on. A lot of them have their headphones in, they're not listening to anyone, they're not talking to anyone, they're just kind of super focused and they don't get to spread the joy to the other people around the gym. Another thing that I'm going to introduce to you right now is Chance Porter. He is owner of CrossFit Unknown. Chance Porter, do you want to come up here?
Sure.
So this is Chance Porter. He owns CrossFit Unknown. He does all the programming. He coaches the majority of the classes here. And I just kind of want him to talk about what a daily routine would look like here at CrossFit Unknown.
Okay, so this right here in the orange is just our standard warm-up. People will just kind of come in and they'll kind of hit it on their own. So what we do for the warm-up is we just basically do standard movements, not really too hard on the body, just kind of body weight movements for the most part, that kind of reflect the same thing that we're going to see in the workout. So goblet squat is a squat with a kettlebell. Since we're squatting back squats today, we just want to kind of get them moving. Ring row is a pulling motion, just like what we'll see with the chest to bar. And then step up is just kind of getting them the feel of opening up the hip, just like we would see on a box jump. So that's what we kind of do. We give them about 10 minutes to hit the warm-up, and then we kind of move on from there. As far as once we're done with the warm-up, we're going to warm up the back squat. We're going to try to find 5 sets of 3. We're just trying to build to find the heaviest. We just want to try to get the heaviest weight for each set, basically. And then the workout is 3 rounds. Each one is a 3-minute AMRAP, which is just as many reps as possible in those 3 minutes. Of 5 box jump, the RX standard is 30 inches for guys and 24 inches for ladies, and then 5 chest bar pull-ups. So they do 5 and 5, that would be a round. They do that as many times as they could in 3 minutes. Then they would rest a minute and then repeat it, and then that would be their squat, that'd be the workout. So that's pretty much how we roll.
How do you program at CrossFit Unknown?
The way we program is we try to make it so there's not a lot of wear and tear on the body. For example, if this was a Monday and we were squatting and we did chest bar pull-ups and stuff like that, we would not squat for at least another 2 or 3 days, probably 2 for the most part. We'd give them a break. We also wouldn't do any pull-ups for probably 4 or 5 days, just because chest bar pull-ups get them really sore. It's a lot more harder pulling movement. Also with box jumps, if people bound it, it can be hard on like the calves and stuff like that, so we'll kind of lay off of jumping too. So we try not to overwork the system by doing the same thing over and over again.
Okay, what about if someone's new? How would you scale a workout for someone that's never worked out a day in their life?
As far as never working out, we have them back squat, but I would probably just have them stick with the bar and do higher reps than 3. Probably sets of like 5 to 10 reps or something like that, not really a lot of weight, just so they kind of get the movement pattern of what we want to see on the back squat. As far as the AMRAPs, it kind of depends on what the level is, and that's when they come in, we kind of ask them their background, and you know, if they exercise or if they don't, and that'll kind of determine how we do this, and it'll be the same time frame. This workout's not too destructive. So we might let them go 2 rounds instead of 3. We'll probably stick with it since it's pretty short with the 3-minute and a rest in there. But the box jump would be lower, and they would probably just do the standard, just a ring roll like we did for the warm-up here. Or if it's a guy, they may do, and they can do pull-ups, they may do like some strict pull-ups or something just so it slows them down, they're not moving as fast. But that's probably what we do for the new person. So nothing too crazy, but we make it so it feels like a grandma coming in, right? So you'd probably be doing, working on sitting onto a box like she would sit into a chair. For this, she would probably just do like a standard step up, and then she'd probably just do ring rows here. And I'd make sure that, after 2 rounds or so, she rests, even if it's not 3 minutes is up. She just kind of goes nice and easy.
Cool. So I kind of want you to show me a couple of functional movements that CrossFit does. CrossFit is very multi-joint workouts, and I just kind of wanted to go over some basics. I just want you to show me an air squat and some of those functional movements and body position that you want to be in an air squat.
Okay, so if we take an air squat, when we warm up the back squat, we kind of go over the points of performance and what we want to see. So the biggest and most important thing is just the midline. So we just want to make sure that there's no breaking in the stomach of the abs, right? So if I was here, we don't want to see any overextension or rounding, anything like that. We just want to keep a neutral spine. So we really focus on keeping the belly tight like we're going to get punched. And then as we start the squat, we make sure that from their head to their butt stays as a single joint, right? If it stays as a single joint, then there's no movement happening. So that's the first thing we'll go over. As far as when we go over to the squat, the first thing we kind of go over is just shoving the butt back, keeping the belly tight. The hands go above their head so the chest stays up, and they just focus on keeping the weight in their heels. So basically weights for mid-foot back, and they're just kind of having the hands up on the hands above their head, and they're kind of just camping out here until we say stand. So that's the first thing. We'll kind of do a few reps there just to make sure that their midline stays tight and they're staying through their heels. If that's good, then we move on to the next one, which is we just want to focus on driving the knees out. A lot of people have this habit of caving the knees in, or they have the habit of just bringing the knees straight forward and they kind of run out of room, and then they'll kind of bend over because they run out of room. So we want to focus on pushing the knees out like they're tracking over the toes, like they're trying to stretch a rubber band. It allows them to go a little bit deeper, but it allows them to also create some torque. As long as the feet stay straight, we don't want any duck feet. If they can do that, then the last thing we go over is the depth, which is hip crease. Goes below the knee, takes the shear off of the knee, and it's just a full range of motion. So that's kind of what we go over as far as the air squat.
Okay, thank you. A lot of people at standard gyms do the deadlift. What would you recommend, and what does CrossFit standards do for the deadlift if you were coaching the deadlift?
If we do the deadlift, we kind of go over the same sort of thing. Basically all the movements for the most part, it starts at midline and it moves outwards, so as long as the midline stays tight, and they're pretty good. A lot of people that do deadlifts in the gym, not a lot of people, but some people probably when they get to the heavier weight, there starts to have some rounding happening or something like that, so we just like to kill it. And when we go over the deadlifts, it's the same thing where we focus on keeping the belly tight and letting no movement happen in the spine. Once we kind of get that established, we'll kind of start at the top and we'll work our way down. Basically, the biggest things we want to see in the deadlift is we want to make sure that the spine stays straight. When they lower the bar, they shove their butt back and they keep their chest up. A lot of people have trouble using their butt, using their hamstrings because they sit all day, especially young kids. So we kind of focus on, a lot of people like to come here and like to round, so we focus on getting the butt to go back and using our hamstrings and letting the bar kind of ride down your legs, right? The closer the bar is to the body, the easier it is and the lighter it feels. So we focus on getting the butt to go back first, and then we focus on making sure that the bar gets past their knees. And once the bar gets past their knees, then they can kind of use the legs, but it's also about keeping the spine exactly how it is, right? So their chest stays up, and then they kind of take it down, and the goal is to just keep the bar in a straight line. So that's kind of what we focus on, is making sure the butt goes back, making sure they stay through the hills. There's not really any movement with the bar path, it stays in a straight line, and obviously their spine stays flat. If there's any movement in the spine, we usually drop the load back, or they need to fix some technical faults.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chance.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of things he went over were perfect on range of motion, super important for CrossFitters. A lot of people walk into a CrossFit gym, can't hit below depth, but once they work on getting those movements, they start to move a lot better, and their body loosens up. We do a lot of mobility tools here. We have lacrosse balls. We get inside the shoulders, foam rollers to hit out those glutes, and the IT bands and anything that gets tight. A lot of times with that warm-up, we'll hit a mobility workout with that. A lot of things that CrossFit does to the health is with the mobility, the multi-joint movements, it gets a lot of bone density. That builds those strong muscles that when our body gets a little bit older, that bone density really helps us in that health region. It also improves the central nervous system. A lot of people love that CrossFit changes every day, so their mental mind frame is improved a lot. A lot of people come here for emotional release. Range of motion is super important. We increase muscle mass and strength, and it also increases your exercise post-oxygen consumption, which is how we burn more calories at rest. A couple of things that, just to kind of conclude this, is at CrossFit Unknown we have our goal and PR board just right over here. And you can see a couple of goals. We don't have quite as many as we'd like, but a good way to kind of test your fitness is to make sure that you're always up on your goals. And then to result that, we're seeing a lot of PRs. It's one of the biggest improvements I've seen. Just recently at CrossFit we did a 6-week challenge. These are some improvements. This is his before and his after. This is her before in April, October, and November. This was the last challenge that we did. I believe that CrossFit is the best way to improve your fitness. You get healthy by doing it. It's quick, an hour is not too much of your time, and you see a lot of improvement. The community's awesome, and that's great. So come to CrossFit and get healthy.